Hi friends, so welcome back to our channel Srinis Software. In this video, we are going to discuss the complete roadmap for the DevOps. If anybody wants to become as a DevOps engineer, then this video is for you. Before going to discuss the roadmap, first let me explain what is DevOps. There is no coding in the DevOps. There is no programming in the DevOps. Then we can say DevOps is not a programming language, and it is not a framework, and it is not a tool. If it is not a programming language, if it is not a framework, if it is not a tool, then what is DevOps? DevOps is a culture. DevOps is a process. DevOps is a set of practices. With this DevOps culture, with this DevOps process, with this DevOps practices, what we can do? We can deliver the project to client as early as possible. With this DevOps practice, we can deliver the project to client as early as possible. DevOps is used to automate the project delivery process. Earlier, before DevOps, delivering the project to client is manual process. After this DevOps culture came, what we are doing? We are automating the project delivery process. And we can say DevOps is a combination of two terms. DevOps is a combination of two terms. What terms? Development plus operations. Development plus operations. Right? In this DevOps culture, both the teams, development team and operations team, will work collaboratively. With this DevOps culture, these two teams are working collaboratively. That's why we are saying it is the combination of development plus operations. Okay, coming to the roadmap. If you want to become as a DevOps engineer, then what is the main prerequisite? The main prerequisite for DevOps is Linux. Linux is mandatory for the DevOps engineers. So you should have strong knowledge on the Linux, then only you can learn DevOps. Otherwise, it is difficult. So Linux is the main prerequisite to learn this DevOps course. After this Linux, you should have knowledge on shell scripting also. First, you should know Linux, then you should know shell scripting. By using shell scripting, what we are going to do? By using shell scripting, we are going to automate the regular activities. Regular, commonly what you want to do. Regularly, you need to perform some actions, right? So those things we can automate by writing the script. For that, you should have strong knowledge on the shell scripting also. Right? Nowadays, companies are expecting Python scripting also. Right? Shell scripting not sufficient. You should know Python scripting also nowadays. That's why Python scripting and shell scripting both are mandatory for the DevOps engineers. So what next? After shell scripting, right, you should have any cloud experience also. Right? You should have any cloud experience, whether it is the AWS cloud or Azure cloud or GCP. Any cloud experience also mandatory here. Among all these clouds, AWS, Azure, and GCP, the most popular cloud is AWS. So, if you know AWS, then it is very good. Then it is very good. That's why here we are going to discuss AWS cloud only. Right? The most, right here, almost in our daily sessions, in our daily trainings classes, right, we are covering almost 20 plus AWS services. If you want to become as a DevOps engineer, along with this Linux and shell scripting, cloud knowledge also mandatory. Only DevOps is not sufficient. Why cloud is mandatory? We are going to create the infrastructures in the cloud environment only. Earlier, before this cloud, earlier we used to follow on-premise infrastructures. We will create on-premise infrastructures in our company only, in our office only. We will create the infrastructures and we will deploy the applications in the servers. But nowadays everyone is going with cloud. No one is going with the on-premise infrastructure. In the cloud only, we are going to create the required infrastructure to run our applications. In the cloud only, we are creating the required infrastructure to deploy our applications. That's why you should have very strong knowledge on the cloud also. Okay, next. Right, first Linux you should know, shell scripting you should know, then cloud also mandatory. Why? In the cloud only you are going to create the infrastructures. Okay, next what we should know? Next we should know Terraform. Terraform also is very, very important. Guys, most of the companies are looking for this Terraform. If you have only knowledge on the Terraform also, you will get the job. And that much of demand is there for the Terraform. By using Terraform, what we can do? By using Terraform, we will create the infrastructures in the cloud. Right here, we need to write some code. We need to write some script in the Terraform. By using that, we can create the infrastructure in the cloud. Here, with this Terraform, we have one advantage. What is that? If you know the Terraform, then you can create the infrastructure in any cloud, not only in AWS. You can create the infrastructure in the AWS. You can create the infrastructure in the Azure. You can create the infrastructure in the GCP also. So Terraform is a one more important mandatory tool, right, to become as a DevOps engineer. What we will do with Terraform? By using Terraform, we will create the infrastructures in the cloud environment. Okay, what next we need? After this Terraform, we should have knowledge on Ansible also. After this Terraform, we should have knowledge on Ansible also. What is this Ansible? Ansible is a configuration management tool. Ansible is a configuration management tool. What is configuration management? See, I have 100 computers are available. In all 100 computers, I want to install the Java software. Then what you will do? You need to connect each and every computer and you need to install the Java. If you do like that, it will take lot of time. Right, manually if you want install the Java in all 100 computers, it will take lot of time. So to avoid that to avoid that manual involvement, what we are doing, we are going for this configuration management tools, that is Ansible. With this Ansible, we can connect all 100 computers and we can install the Java software in all the computers at a time. From single place, we can install the Java in all 100 computers at a time. So that's why we should have strong knowledge on Ansible also. Okay, guys, just to follow this once again. First, you should have strong knowledge on the Linux. Then you should have the knowledge on shell scripting. After that, you should have knowledge on any cloud, whether it is AWS or Azure or GCP. Then you should know the Terraform. By using Terraform only, we will create the infrastructures in the cloud environment. And we should know Ansible also. Ansible is a configuration management tool. With this Ansible, we can connect n number of servers at a time and we can install the required packages in all the servers at a time. That's why you should have the knowledge on configuration management tool also. So next, guys. Next, coming to DevOps, guys. Coming to DevOps tools. Here what we require. What we need to learn, guys. What we need to learn. Observe carefully. First, you should know Maven. We are going to discuss Maven first. What is this Maven? Maven is a builder tool. As a builder tool, we are going to learn Maven. Right? Maven or Gradle also one of the builder tool. Here we are going to discuss Maven. So here by using Maven, we can build the application. We can create the artifact for our application. So as a build tool, we are going to understand Maven. After Maven, you should know the Sonar. You should learn Sonar also. What is this Sonar Cube? What is this Sonar Cube? Sonar Cube is a code review tool. Code review. We will do the code review. If you want to perform code review, we need one tool. So that is Sonar Cube. By using Sonar Cube, we can check the code as per the client standards, as per the client requirement. Developer is implemented the code or not. Developer followed the proper coding standards or not. Developer written the unit test cases or not. All the unit test cases are success or not. How much coverage is there? That complete review we can do by using this Sonar Cube. That's why you should know Sonar Cube also. As a builder tool, we are going to learn Maven. As a code review tool, we need to learn Sonar Cube. Next, next we should know Jenkins. What is this Jenkins? Jenkins is the deployment tool. Using Jenkins only, we will create the CI/CD pipelines. In that pipeline, we will write all the required stages. What stages? Cloning the project, build the application, perform the code review, create the images, right? Upload the image into the right Docker Hub and deploy that image into the clusters. Like this, based on our requirement, whatever the stages are there, all the stages we need to write in the CI/CD pipeline. To create that CI/CD pipelines, we are going to learn this Jenkins. So, and we can say Jenkins is a deployment tool. Here, the main role, the main activity is performing by the Jenkins only. Jenkins is one of the main key role. Jenkins will perform one of the main key role at here. Jenkins only will take care of the deployment and everything. But here we need to write one CI/CD pipeline. In that CI/CD pipeline, we need to write all the required stages. Okay, here Jenkins we are going to learn as a deployment tool. First Maven as a builder tool, next Sonar Cube as a code review tool, then Jenkins as a deployment tool. Okay, after this Jenkins, we should learn Nexus or JFrog. Nexus or JFrog. What is this Nexus or JFrog? Here, Maven will create the artifact for our application. We need to keep that artifact in some location for future purpose. We need to store the artifact in some location. Right. So for that, we have Nexus or JFrog. Nexus or JFrog. What is this? Nexus is a artifactory repository tool. Nexus is a artifactory repository tool. Whatever the artifacts Maven is creating, those artifacts we need to upload in the Nexus repository. We need to upload in the JFrog repositories. Some companies will use Nexus repository. Some companies will use JFrog artifactory repository. Right? Sorry, here I forget one more thing. After Maven, here we need to understand one more tool, that is GitHub. GitHub or Bitbucket. Or Bitbucket. What is this GitHub or Bitbucket? This GitHub or Bitbucket is a source code repository tools. Developers are writing the code. Where developers will keep that code? Right? Who will integrate the developers code? Right here, we are going to use source code repository. Once development is completed, every developer should upload the code into the source code repository. Every developer should commit the code into the source code repository. What source code repository will do? It will take the code from all the developers and it will integrate as a single project. Okay, so here as a source code repositories, you can use GitHub, Bitbucket or GitLab. All these things are source code repositories only. Some companies are using GitHub, some companies are using Bitbucket, guys. Okay, and here what it is doing, it will take the code from all the developers and it will integrate as a single project. So now here we have two repositories. One is the source code repository, another one is the artifactory repository. Right. So in the source code repository, we will upload the source code. What is source code? Whatever the code developers are writing, that original code, we will call it as the source code. Developers will upload that source code in the GitHub repository, right? And Maven will create the artifact for our code. Maven will create the artifact for our code. We need to upload that artifact in the Nexus repository. Artifact repository is different, source code repository is different. In the source code repository, we will keep the source code. In the artifact repositories, we will keep the artifacts. Both are different. Okay. See guys, first Maven we will discuss. It is builder tool. Next GitHub or Bitbucket. This is the source code repository tool. Then you should know SonarQube. It is the code review tool. Then you should know Jenkins. It is the deployment tool. All right, here we will create the CI/CD pipelines. Next you should learn Nexus. It is Artifactory repository tool. Okay, so in this DevOps syllabus only, right, we are going to discuss Terraform and Ansible also. Terraform and Ansible also we are going to cover in the DevOps syllabus only. But before going to discuss Terraform, you should have very strong hands-on experience on the AWS cloud services. How to create the EC2 instances, how to create the VPC, right? All these things. You should know how to create all these things through an AWS management console. Then only you can understand the Terraform, guys. Whatever we are using, whatever we are going to use in the Terraform, right? That terminology, if you want to understand, before that, you should practice AWS services through AWS management console. Then Terraform will become very easy for you guys. Okay, right. First, we will talk about the Maven, then we will talk about the source code repository, then we will talk about code review tool, then Jenkins, then a Nexus, and here only, yeah. So Terraform, next Ansible. These things also, right, will cover at here only, guys. Right. Next, what you need to learn? Next, the most important tool is Docker. Docker is one of the most important tool. What is this Docker? Docker is a containerization tool. Docker is a containerization tool. By using this Docker, what we can do? Right, we can deploy the applications easily. We can manage the applications easily with this Docker. Right. See guys, whenever you are developing the application, you need to take care lot of things. Application code you need to take care, softwares you need to take care, libraries you need to take care, dependencies you need to take care, binaries you need to take care, software versions you need to take care. Those many things you need to take care. Right. So okay, in your system you did all the required setup and you have developed the application. It is working fine in your system. Same application, if you want to run in any other server, then what you need to do? Whatever you have in your system, everything should be available in other system also. Then only you can run that application. Otherwise, right, application will not run. Right, how you will provide all these things in other application? Right, for that we are going to create the Docker images. Okay, in the Docker you should know how to write the Docker files. How to write the Docker files. Here first you should understand what is virtualization, what is containerization, right, and how to write the Docker file. And inside the Docker file we will write the instructions. To write those instructions, we should know the Docker domain specific keywords. What Docker domain specific keywords are available, how to build the Docker images from the Docker file, and how to upload the Docker images in the registries, how to start the containers, all these things, Docker networking, Docker compose, all these things you should know. Okay, so Docker is one of the most important tool, guys. Docker is a containerization platform. Right, before containerization, people used it to work with virtualization. Okay, next, guys, after Docker you should know Kubernetes. This is very important. Right. With Kubernetes, what we are going to do? Here, by using Docker, we are going to create the containers. By using Docker, we are going to create the containers. Whatever the containers you have created by using Docker, we need to manage all those containers. To manage all those containers, we need one orchestration tool. Whatever the containers we have created by using Docker, we need to manage all those containers. To manage those containers, we need one orchestration tool. Here, as a orchestration tool, we are going to use Kubernetes. That's why Kubernetes is very, very important. By using Docker, whatever the containers we are creating, we are going to manage all those containers with this Kubernetes. Okay, so till now, what we discussed, first you should know Maven, then you should know source code repository tool, next you should know code review tool, then you should know deployment tool, then you should know artifact repositories, and you should know Terraform. Terraform is IAC. We will call it as infrastructure as code. Right, we will create the infrastructure by writing code, that is called as IAC, infrastructure as code, Terraform. So then you should know Ansible as the configuration management tool, and you should know Docker as a containerization platform, and you should know Kubernetes as orchestration platform. Okay, after Kubernetes we should know some monitoring tools also. What monitoring tools? We should know Prometheus. Right, we should know Prometheus. 1 minute. Right, Prometheus you should know, and Grafana you should know, right, and ELK or Splunk, right, ELK or Splunk, right, these things you should know. Okay, Prometheus, Grafana and ELK, we will use these tools for monitoring purpose. By using Prometheus and Grafana, we can monitor cluster logs, right, and by using ELK application logs, everything we can monitor. These are the some of the monitoring tools we should know: Prometheus, Grafana, ELK and all these things. Okay, so see guys, Maven, GitHub, Sonar, Jenkins, Nexus, Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana, ELK. So these are the most important tools in the DevOps. If you want to become as a DevOps engineer, you should know all these things. See guys, you should know all these things to become as a DevOps engineer guys. Maven is there, GitHub is there, Jenkins is there, Sonar is there, Nexus is there, Docker, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana, ELK, Terraform, Ansible, all these things you should know. Then only you will become as the DevOps engineer. But before going to learn these tools, what you should know as a prerequisite, first you should know Linux. You should have very strong knowledge on the Linux. Then you should learn shell scripting and Python scripting. Both are required. Nowadays, companies are expecting both shell scripting and Python scripting. So you should have the strong knowledge on both shell scripting and Python scripting. Then you should have strong knowledge on any one cloud, whether it is AWS or Azure or GCP. Which one is the most popular cloud? AWS is the most popular cloud. So we have more openings on the AWS cloud side. So next here, if you want to create the infrastructure in the AWS, then we should go for Terraform. Right, next, right, for configuration management purpose, we are using Ansible. Right, all these things are very, 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 very important for the DevOps engineer. If you write order wise, first you should know the Linux, then you should know the shell scripting, then you should know the cloud, after that Maven, GitHub, Sonar, Jenkins, Nexus and Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes and these monitoring tools. In this order, you need to learn all these tools. I hope roadmap is very clear. So here in my daily training sessions, right, first I will discuss the Linux, then I will discuss shell scripting, then I will discuss AWS cloud. Almost 20 plus AWS services I am covering. Right, after AWS cloud, I will start with Maven, then GitHub, then SonarQube, then Jenkins, Nexus, after the Terraform, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, and monitoring tools and real-time projects. and real-time projects, guys. Right, all these things I'm covering in my daily sessions, guys. I hope this roadmap is clear. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Have a great day. All the best.